Isn't that awful? And they're just getting away with it. And we're letting them get away with it. And our administration is letting them get away with it. And our media is letting them get away with it. Of course I'm happy that everything is opened up. But that's kind of like somebody's had their foot on my neck as I'm on the ground. No, I'm not making a George Floyd comparison. And then they take it off, and I say, oh, that feels much better. And then I don't address, well, why did you have your foot on my neck in the first place? It does feel better right now. 855-403-9846. I want to hear from you on this. You're listening to the Jim Polito Show, your safe space.
This report is sponsored by Mattress.
Very special guest, Blackberry Smoke. For the first time ever, the Better Life played in its entirety, plus all the hits. Ticketone sale Friday at 10 a.m. and Ticketmaster.
Folk Dance Suite, Joanne Falletta conducting the Buffalo Philharmonic Orchestra. 8:20 now. Quick reminder, if you love something that you heard on 99.5, but you missed the composer's name or the orchestra or whatever, just visit our website. Go to classicalwcrb.org and click on playlists. 62 degrees now. Here's Bella Bacco's 17th Concerto with the Concerto Cologne.
specifically engineered that in the lab. Now, we want to make people's lungs look like broken glass. Lovely. I never saw the picture, but they said, I can assure you, it looks like broken glass. That's from a radiologist, Danny, or a doctor. They're like, hey, what's your lung look like? Broken glass. What's your liver look like? You're not pathetically good. Yeah, what's your liver look like? It kind of looks like a car accident, you know? Like a smart car and then a huge honking SUV. Yeah, that's what it looks like. That's what your liver looks like. Anyway, now that we're all drawing a breath, it's time to figure out what are we going to do next time. I'm not mentioning these guys because they're advertisers, but I was talking with my friends at Lamro yesterday, and they were talking about the supply chain, and they were saying, I hope we have learned a lesson from this, because there are so many lessons, good and bad, that came out of COVID. There's so many lessons. I mean, good. How about a total stranger donated plasma who had COVID, and that plasma went into my blood, into my body for 6 days and brought me back? How about all the acts of kindness? How about people being more helpful? How about people looking out for each other? That's all fine. And I hope we recognize that. But what brought us to this point? China. And in talking with the folks at Lamro Ford, you know, they were talking about supply. It's been difficult for Ford, and it's been difficult for a lot of others. I mean, I have, for the kitchen we're redoing. You know, this is not an exercise in mentioning advertisers, but the kitchen we're doing. Got a stove. And guess what? We're waiting on it. We're waiting on the stove. We're also waiting on the refrigerator. Why? Supply chain. The Japanese did one thing smart. For some reason, after the what's it, Fujisaki, the nuclear power plant that was hit by the tsunami wave, they started bringing a lot of their supply onshore. And Toyota is experiencing shortages too. The Japanese manufacturers, but for a lot of it, they said, let's bring this stuff onshore. I don't need to pay less for certain items if they're items that we're going to need if this happens again. And I hope we learn that lesson. Make sure we have this stuff. But the most important lesson is, why would you trust China